We are broadcasting live from Florida this morning. It is Election Day here in the United States. And right now, millions of Americans are still casting their votes to ultimately decide who they want to be the next president of the United States. So we're out the front of the convention centre of Palm Beach. This is official Republican HQ, where later on Donald Trump will be giving a speech. But will it be marking a victory or a loss? Or will we even have a result by then? We'll get the answers to those questions throughout the course of the day. Now, ever since Donald Trump lost the last election 4 years ago, he has effectively been in campaign mode. And earlier today, near his home in Mar-a-Lago, just around the corner here from the convention centre, he cast his vote with his wife Melania and suggested that he would accept the results of tonight's election so long as it's fair.
If I lose an election, if it's a fair election, I'd be the first one to acknowledge it. And I think well, so far I think it's been fair. Of course there'll be no violence. My supporters are not violent people. I don't have to tell them that. And I certainly don't want any violence.
So, from Florida to Ohio now, where Donald Trump's running mate J.D. Vance also cast his vote earlier today. Ohio, it is a state that won't trouble the Republicans too much.
We do expect to win, but obviously no matter who wins, half the country, as you said, is going to be at least partially disappointed. I think my attitude is the best way to heal the rift in the country is to try to govern the country as well as we can, create as much prosperity as we can for the American people, and remind our fellow Americans that we are all fundamentally on the same team, however we voted.
As for their opponent, the Democrat Kamala Harris, she was just seen at Democrat HQ in Washington, D.C. She had good energy, as she generally always does, talking to her supporters. That's where their big party is going to be a little bit later on. Now, she has already cast her vote. She didn't do it in person today like Donald Trump did because she'd already done it, and by post. Her campaign says that's because she wasn't in her home state of California, and citing the fact that there are other options available. But she has used the day to campaign. She was calling in radio stations around the key swing states, hoping to woo any undecided voters that might still exist, including this call in the state of Georgia.
I've just been so focused on the task in front of me. The reflection has only been about making sure that I'm responding to the needs of folks around the policies.
So as I mentioned, that voting is still underway here on the East Coast. There are still about another 3 hours or so left of voting before the count begins. We went down to a local voting booth here in West Palm Beach a little bit earlier to gauge some reaction of what people were thinking.
I voted for Kamala Harris because I think she represents a feeling of optimism that we've long lost in this country.
I voted for Donald Trump. For me, the economy, honestly, it's been pretty bad in the last 4 years, and it was good under Trump despite COVID.
I voted for Harris, yeah. It was just an easy decision for me.
Why?
Women's rights is definitely on the ballot for me this year.
The difference of what the last 4 years has done, so I think seeing a change there was a big contributing factor as to why I'm here today.
In a state like Florida, which is usually Republican, is that a given that it'll go that way?
I don't know, but I can say I didn't vote that way.
So that's just one snapshot from one voting booth. As you would expect, there are thousands of voting booths right across the country, including those 7 key battleground states. So here now is a much broader snapshot.
I don't like either of the presidential candidates right now, but I did vote for Kamala because I thought she was a better fit for some of the issues that I'm dealing with.
Not all that happy with everything that's gone on the last, 4 years, so it kind of steered me in that direction on default.
It's Trump. We can't too far to go backwards.
I'm a single cat lady with no kids. That's about it.
I'm afraid of the stuff that happened last year or last time with January 6th happening again. I don't want to go through that. We're better than that.
He's a businessman, and he's a little dirty, a little rough around the edges, and I think that's what we need right now to kind of, shave off some of the corruption.
All right, let's take a live look at the White House right now, and boy, does she look beautiful. Both Donald Trump and Kamala Harris are hoping to win today to get the keys to 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue.